the IDF continues its ground offensive against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So far, the IDF has attempted to cut Gaza in half and carry out ground attacks from the settlements of Beit Hanun and Beit Lahia to Jabalia. In recent days, IDF forces have also carried out offensive operations in the settlement of Al-Shati camp against Hamas headquarters and tunnel lines. Today we see that the IDF is trying to destroy all Hamas resources in the northern part of the Strip in order to control the center of Gaza. For this purpose, the Israeli army has imposed a complete blockade of the northern parts of the Gaza Strip, including the coastal area. In addition, the Al-Shifa hospital and its surroundings, which is the most important headquarters of Hamas in Gaza, are also under the blockade of IDF troops. If the IDF is successful in northern Gaza, it is likely that the IDF is planning to escalate its offensive operations in the center of the city, in Al-Shifa hospital, and other parts of Gaza. In fact, today we learned that a critical step was taken to realize these plans. IDF forces carried out a dramatic raid on Hamas's most important headquarters in northern Gaza. The Israeli Army's 14th Brigade, with air support and artillery, reportedly fought intensely against Hamas militants for control of this outpost in northern Gaza, which Hamas uses as its main headquarters. The compound, known as the Palestinian Outpost, was used by Hamas as a training ground to prepare for attacks on Israel. But after fierce clashes, the Israel Defense Forces announced that the 14th Armored Reserve Brigade had captured this Hamas outpost in the northern Gaza Strip. Following these critical operations, dozens of Hamas combatants were killed and dozens of anti-tank missile and rocket launch sites, observation posts, and other infrastructure were destroyed. The IDF reported that after capturing this area, soldiers found tunnel shafts, explosive devices, and landmines. The fact that after capturing the outpost, Israeli forces found tunnel shafts in the area and destroyed these secret passages is a very important detail. We already know that Hamas's underground tunnel infrastructure has been severely damaged in recent days, and the militants are losing their advantage in the Gaza Strip. The IDF's discovery and demolition of new tunnel shafts near this outpost further undermines Hamas's strategy of attacking from underground. Before the capture of these tunnel lines, the IDF had been conducting raids on Hamas secret passageways in northern Gaza, including flooding and cutting off the electricity to the tunnels. It was even claimed that the tunnel line in this Hamas outpost was affected by the IDF's activities and that the tunnels were flooded with water and had no electricity. In other words, the IDF's measures in this regard had a profound effect on the tunnel line underneath this captured Hamas outpost. Just in case, IDF troops also directed artificial intelligence robots to the tunnel lines under the outpost. The robots made their way to the water-filled area and did not encounter any Hamas fighters. In addition, the IDF's special forces were also advancing along the tunnel lines, with the AI robots creating a safe zone. In fact, all of these details show that the IDF has become particularly comfortable in the tunnel lines in Gaza. This operation in the north of the city is the latest example of the IDF taking control underground. On the other hand, after these incursions in northern Gaza, it was learned that the top leaders of Hamas began to flee from the north and center of the city towards the south. In other words, neither the north nor the center of Gaza are safe for the Hamas leadership. The north of the city has become risky after the recent raid attack on the Hamas outpost, while in the center of the city, as we told you, the blockade around Al-Shifa hospital and its surroundings remains in place. But is the south of Gaza a safe place for Hamas? With Israeli leaders declaring control of the northern part of Gaza, including Gaza City, there are growing signs that a ground offensive on the southern part of the Strip may be imminent. A leaflet about communities east of Khan Younis, the largest city in southern Gaza, warned residents to move and head for known shelters. Settlements such as Al-Qarah, Kuzaa, Bani Suhaila, and Absan are among the routes the Israeli army could choose to reach Khan Younis. These settlements are located near the perimeter fence that separates the Gaza Strip from Israel, which points to possible new points of attack for Israeli forces seeking to take control of the south. In other words, these areas are not safe havens for Hamas. In other words, Israel has a complete blockade of Hamas from both the north and the south. Therefore, Hamas militants have nowhere to escape. It is precisely at this point that the Israeli army needs to increase its military forces along the border lines with the Gaza Strip. At present, Hamas does not have enough control over the tunnel lines in the Strip, and an increase in the number of troops would make the Israeli army's ground offensive even more likely to be victorious. In addition, the current lack of electricity in large parts of Gaza prevents Hamas from staying in the tunnels underground for too long. At the moment, only public buildings such as hospitals and gathering places have electricity. That's why Hamas is known to use these public buildings as hiding places. In fact, you may recall that when the Israeli army carried out its first raid on Al-Shifa hospital, it discovered passageways underground that led to one of Hamas's longest tunnel networks. IDF forces also uncovered a large number of weapons and military equipment belonging to Hamas. The IDF even claimed to have discovered a tunnel shaft inside the Al-Shifa hospital complex and released photographs and video. The video provided by Israel shows open soil, revealing a hole in the ground. The side of the shaft appears to be reinforced with concrete. Exposed pipes and cables can also be seen close to the surface. The geolocated video also tilts upwards to reveal one of the hospital's main buildings, about 30 meters away from the hole. Soldiers also found a booby-trapped car containing a large quantity of weapons and ammunition, the Israeli army said in a statement. IDF spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said army engineers were working to expose the tunnel infrastructure. Admiral Hagari also reported that soldiers uncovered a functioning tunnel in the Al-Rantisi hospital in northern Gaza. The IDF therefore suspects that Hamas has resources in 35 other hospitals in Gaza City. Hamas denies all of this, but the concrete evidence confirms the work of the Israeli army. As you can see, this is the true face of Hamas and its supporters who spread black propaganda on social media. But the IDF continues its determined war in the Gaza Strip against this brutal organization and all those who support Hamas, no matter what. The Hamas headquarters and outposts captured in the Gaza Strip, as well as the destroyed tunnel lines, are tangible proof of this. In the coming days, the Gaza Strip is expected to become a complete hell for Hamas. Thank you for watching us. We work day and night to bring you the fastest and most reliable news. In order not to miss the videos prepared by our team, including the latest developments and special reports on the war in Israel, you can subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and click the super thanks button below. See you in our next work.